Hey everyone, welcome back to Stones Hill Homestead. If you're new here, I'm Kim. And today we are still in the pantry challenge and we've had some, I'm going to call them Italian meals this week. And I'm starting off with 1 pound of ground beef that I am frying up. The recipe I am doing today is a baked ziti with ricotta, but I am using a different type of spiral noodle. And I will show you that when we get a little bit farther into the video. But I tried to cut this back because it's just for 2 of us. And I wanted to cut this recipe in half compared to what it should be for our big family. But it just didn't work. It said to start with 2 pounds of ground beef. I only did 1. Then I added some onion. I added a 1/2 cup of chopped onion here. And we get that all browned up and those onions to a nice translucent color. And I get that fried up and I realize that I need some garlic. So I get some of my garden garlic and I add that and get that in there for about a minute to make the aromas start flowing through the air. This is garlic from our garden. It has a purple skin. I do not know what kind it is. It is very good. And I need to get it used up as some of it is starting to turn. So I'm going to probably have to put some garlic cubes in the freezer with this. But I want to use up as much fresh as I can, so we are really hitting the Italian meals this weekend. This pantry challenge is hosted by Jessica at Three Rivers Homestead. If you click on the hashtag 3 Rivers Challenge, it'll take you to every place that is, or every channel that is participating in this. Our rules are January and February. Only get to go out to eat twice a month. And we can't go to the grocery store in January, and our rules for our family is February, $10 a week. Well, I have done very well with that. Here we are getting the water boiling for this pasta, and this is Bio Nature pasta from Azure Standard. And it is a sourdough pasta. I bought 1 box to try, and I'm here to tell you it is fabulous. It is a wonderful pasta. I may buy it again. I usually use gluten-free pasta, but this pasta did not bother me. I am not celiac, but I am really gluten intolerant. I have a lot of side effects when I do eat gluten, so I tend to stay away, but sourdough seems to do okay with it. I'm also adding some salt to the pasta water because that just helps those noodles absorb that flavor and it adds some flavor to your meal. I'm trying to keep it from boiling over here. The sourdough pasta is really boiling up and foaming up, so I'm stirring and just trying to keep it from making a mess, and I accomplished that. And we just boil this to al dente. It says 7 to 9 minutes on the box. I ended up doing it for 6 minutes, and I am very happy because I didn't want a mushy pasta in this baked casserole. And I just stir from time to time, make sure that it's not sticking. I did put some olive oil also in the water to help that. I should have probably put a little bit more after I drained it so that it wouldn't stick together. But it worked out just fine. Here I am tasting it to make sure that it is right to the consistency that I want it. This has to bake yet, so that pasta is going to continue to cook, and it will completely soften up at the end. So I'm turning off the heat now, and we are getting that drained. Now this gallon bag of pasta sauce was in my freezer, and Stephanie from Pantry Living has also been hosting a pantry challenge with her freezer. She calls it her freezer challenge. I asked if I could join it, and she said it was open and anybody could do it, and she's working through her freezers for her pantry challenge, as well as participating with Three Rivers Challenge. So I had this gallon bag, which I freeze flat. I had some extra sauce. It's not quite enough for this casserole. It calls for 2 24-ounce jars of sauce, which I have on my pantry, but I wanted to get this out of the freezer. I had put this in the freezer in November. I wanted to use it up. So with this, I poured it in this container thinking I can work right out of this container, but I realize that may not be a good idea. Let's mix the ground beef that I fried and the sauce together and get it all incorporated and hot so that when it goes into the oven, it's already cooked ingredients. It just needs to finish cooking with the noodles, the cheese, the ricotta, the egg that's in that ricotta that you'll see shortly. So I do end up heating it all the way through. Now with this pantry challenge, I did add a pint jar of my pasta sauce from the pantry shelf that I canned last fall. I did add that because I needed it to be a little bit more liquidy. You can see that pot of sauce. It is a little bit thinner, and that worked perfectly. To start this recipe, we are going to put about half of this sauce, this meat sauce, on the bottom of my 9x13 lasagna pan. Now, if I'd have made the full recipe, it also called for a 9x13 pan. But I cut back on all the ingredients, and I'm here to tell you, even going half, this lasagna pan was full. I don't know what size pan the original recipe would have held, but I believe it was probably a 10x14. I don't remember, but I do love this. And here is those spiral pastas, and I think it's called Fasilli, Fasilli. I do not know how to pronounce it, but we like it because the spirals hold that sauce, so when you're eating a bite or a mouthful or a forkful of this pasta, it holds all of the flavors in those spirals, whether it be meat or cheese or whatever you use it for. So we do love this pasta. It's just gives everything a chance to grab onto that pasta noodle. But of course, this recipe was started with stuffed shells. That is what this recipe actually started as, is you stuff your shells with your ricotta cheese, and then you put your sauce in the bottom, set the shells with the stuffed ricotta, pour the rest of the sauce over on top, and that is phenomenal. But I didn't have the pasta shells. It takes the really large pasta shells, and this is just easier for me to make. So I'm going to add some more sauce over those pasta noodles as I'm layering, and I just want enough to get over that so that those shells can finish cooking. And now I'm going to take half of this ricotta cheese and I'm going to dollop it on the next layer. This ricotta cheese mixture is made with ricotta cheese, an egg, so 1 container of ricotta cheese, 1 egg, some Italian seasoning. I used about a teaspoon, and a cup of mozzarella cheese and a cup of Parmesan. Now those are half a cup because I did split it in half. And I'm just going to spread this ricotta cheese over this layer. And I believe I missed part of the video where I'm making the ricotta filling. I may try and go back and grab that, see if we can't insert it in here. Now I'm spreading half a cup of mozzarella cheese over this layer. This is cheese I had in my freezer. I want to use it up. I want to get this stuff out of my freezer. It was something that was on sale. I grabbed it back in December. I threw it in my freezer, and I need to just get it out of there. I want to clear out my freezer. And then I use a little bit of some Parmesan cheese at the end. I'm going back and we're going to start with the next layer because I still need to use up the sauce and the noodles and the ricotta. You want to end up, when you're layering this, with your ricotta cheese. So here I am. I'm going to add the rest of this sauce, or as much as I can, to it, and we're going to get a nice thick layer on this. And one thing I learned, which I guess I always did but didn't know that it was a thing, is once you're done baking this, you're going to let this rest for about 10 minutes so that those layers come together nice. And I didn't really know that that was a thing, but apparently it is, so that when you cut into this, it all holds together. It's kind of like a pie. You're waiting for it to cool so that all the filling doesn't run out. And that's just kind of what you're doing here. So I'm adding the rest of the pasta to the top. And after I get that all out of here and put on the top of this, I do kind of push it down in this pan because it's just really full. And this is way more than what the two of us could eat. And I was hoping it would be like a 9x9 pan. Not happening. It's definitely a big, hearty, filling comfort food. And that's what I'm going to call it today. But it is really a tasty meal. We love it. And I just didn't want to take a lot of time with it today and fill shells, which I didn't have. I would have had to go to the store, and I did not want to do that. After this, I put the next layer of ricotta cheese on here, and I'm going to finish it up and dollop that on top, and then we're going to spread it around. You can probably use lasagna shells and make a lasagna out of this. I don't know. I'm sure it would work just fine. Use the pasta that you have so that you can get these things off of your shelf. That is our goal, is to use up things that we just don't have a lot of, or odd things that you pick up at the store, or like this pasta. I just wanted to try it to see if it affected me and if we liked it, and we ended up really liking it. So I will buy more from Azure Standard as my pantry dwindles down of my tinchiata pasta that I normally use. That is a gluten-free pasta, and that is what I normally use. So here you see me just spreading this out. I'm tapping it down, just trying to make sure that this pan does not boil over. That is my biggest concern for the oven. It doesn't boil over, so I did pretty good. The thing that it said to do was end up with ricotta on top. But I had this little bit of sauce, and so I'm just going to pour that right down the middle, spread it around a little bit, and we're going to call it good. I just didn't want to have any sauce left, and there wasn't really but maybe a cup left in there, if that. And I just spread it around on the middle and just kind of, smooth it out. Then I add mozzarella cheese. I'm going to finish off that package of mozzarella cheese that you saw me using earlier, and we're just going to dump that on there. It's not a lot of cheese. It probably would be more had I had more, but I didn't have any more, and I just wanted to use it up. So I just kind of spread it out, and we're going to call that good. If you're a cheese family like we are, I would have added more. And it really does call for another 2 cups of mozzarella cheese for the top, which, like I said, you can use it or you don't have to. I'm going to grab the remainder of the Parmesan cheese that I have, and I'm just going to sprinkle that on there and finish that bag up as well. And that's all I had. What you see right here is all I had from that last little bit of shredded mozzarella cheese, or excuse me, for Parmesan cheese, and add it on there. If you have that green can stuff, we never have that. I don't like that green can stuff. And I'm sure that would be just fine too on here. Or you can use it when you serve it up and it will be just fine. So now we need to put aluminum foil on this and we're going to cover it. I tent my aluminum foil so that the cheese doesn't stick to it. And that works out really good. And here is the baked ziti with ricotta. Obviously not ziti, but it is that spiral noodle. And I have prepared a salad that has some olives on it, ranch dressing, cranberries, sunflower seeds, carrots, lettuce, as well as I have some of that focaccia bread that I had made earlier for a previous meal, and that's the remainder. We're finishing this off, and we are going to plate up this casserole. We let it set for about 10 minutes, and I'm coming in with this scoop, and we're just going to get a little corner and get this plated up so we can get eating. It comes out really nice out of this pan. We're going to have leftovers for lunches this week, which will be just fine. More than what I planned, but I will eat it up and we will get this taken care of. So here I am loading it up. And it should have probably sat just a couple more minutes, a few more minutes, because it does start to run just a little bit, but I'm okay with it. And here is my plate. It was a fabulous meal. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate all the new subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for taking time to be with us. And as always, be blessed and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great day, everyone.